Hey everybody, it's Lewis Porter Jr. I'm shooting in my car because I'm at an event for work, so I can't really do my walk around like I want to, so I'm shooting inside my car. You know how that goes. First things first, today, of course, is the 11th of May, Comic Book Day. So this is what I'm reading. I'm reading You Can't Read It, Unnatural Talent by Jason Brubaker. It's a lot of good stuff if you're looking into webcomics and that kind of stuff and getting involved with that. It's a nice thing to check out. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm only, how many pages am I on this bad boy? I'm 121 pages in. I'm probably going to finish this up today. So I like what I've read so far. A lot of good stuff. If you don't know anything about publishing comics, it's a great piece to take a look at. Jim Zubovich, I think I'm pronouncing his last name. Jim Zubovich. I think it's Zubovich. Also has a lot of stuff that's very similar to this, so if you've read that, you'll probably find some stuff that's very reusable. I've also found some new stuff. I always like to find something new and interesting, so I'm going to be using that later on, of course, with fun new stuff. That's 90% of it, finding something new and interesting you can use to write. So today, we'll focus a little bit on that, but then we're going to go back to some other stuff. So, see, I want to talk about this, but it's going to come off wrong, so I'm just going to talk about it anyway and just deal with the repercussions after. So, if you've been on Paizo's board, reading the thread I did on the whole living campaign, and I've noticed that people, some people are like offended and like upset that I want to do a living campaign. And one person described it best to me. They described it as the haves and the have-nots. And I thought that was such an interesting, way to put it, and he was very much like, this is the dumbest idea I've ever seen. Why would you want to do that? And I'm just like, wow, dude, all I want to do is get people more interested in playing third-party stuff by giving them a generic world and a unifying thing that we all can be part of. But, he took it totally a different way. So I always thought it was just very, very weird. And then it just got me thinking in general of, the problems that third parties always had. With third party, it always goes back to the same issue of, is this stuff good or is it too overpowered? And, let's be honest, overpowering and too good and whatever, that's all personal perception. I've had people complain about, one character being overpowered, one character being underpowered. And it's the same exact character. So that's all personal feelings. And let's be honest, let's just call it like it is. There is no balance actually in gaming. If you think there's balance in gaming, just compare a racial setup of an elf and a half-orc. They are not equal anyway. They're not supposed to be, because the elf is the cooler character, so the cooler character gets to do the cooler things. The half-orc, not really exciting, gets to do really limited stuff. That's why him and the human are basically at the bottom, while dwarves or elves are at the top of awesome things you want to see visually and in the gameplay. And it just makes me laugh. People are like, oh, it's not balanced, it's broken, it's not balanced. Usually when people scream balance, it usually means they were getting their asses handed to them by a monster killing them. So they're like, oh, this is not balanced. I don't think this is balanced. So you get a lot of that stuff going on. I can't stand that, and I never have, and I never will. So that's just my personal feeling about that. So, whatever. But also with the Living Campaign, I just think it's a smart business decision, as me as a small publisher and as many of us as small publishers. Look, the hardest thing I ever had anybody do is to get them to try my game out. Because it's a whole new game. They don't know the campaign world. They don't know anything. They're not vested. It's not like they're playing Pathfinder, where they've already had played, probably maybe 10, 20, 30 different adventures, so they understand how the world works. So you give them a whole new world to work, it might be an issue. And that's even one of the reasons we did Chronicles of the Gatekeeper. That was done for just a simple interest to get people to say, hey, here's a little taste of Neo Exodus. You get a little understanding, you see the characters, you understand what's going on, and boom, we go back to your world. So you get a little taste of the setting, while you don't have to pay, X amount of dollars to buy the PDF or the hardcover book. You get a quick little taste of it, you see if you like it. If you like it, you'll want to see more, you see the book. If you don't, it didn't really hurt you any much. You played the adventure, you liked it, you didn't, boom, you keep moving. And I think a lot of that needs to be done by third-party guys. There's no piece to get them interested into the new campaign setting. It's a lot of just tough stuff to do. It's very tough to get people to try something the first time they've never tried before. I think a lot of people get into the whole mindset of, oh, it can only be this type of thing, but it's the only type of thing I play, and I don't want to try anything new, but it's going to take more time, and I don't want to learn anything new. And people are kind of hesitant about learning things new. So I'm just like, hey, try stuff different. Try to be, a little more open. And I think open gaming is a great way to do it. Living gaming is a great way to do that. So, it's hot out here too. And that to me is the first best step. I think if you focus on doing something like that, you can get people interested and try it out. Also, and more importantly, it really is a marketing arm of what you're doing. Um, the open play and the living campaign stuff is really about marketing to your fan base. You see it all the time. To play these games, you need to have these core books to play, and you're really just trying to sell more players' handbooks, as it would be for the WotC, or more core rule books. You know, for me, I'm taking more of the sense of, yes, those things are important. You need those to play the game because that's what people have said. But at the same time, I'm not going to force you to buy New Exodus if you want to play it. But if you want to get a taste of it, yeah, there's going to be some adventures. You can try it out, see if you like it. You might do stuff that's more New Exodus focused later, but not right off the bat. It's all about really just trying to get you guys to try the new stuff. And I want to make it easy as possible to get you to try it, not trying to cause any blockades between that gaming and enjoyment. Some people get all tied up to that. I don't get that. I never have, and I don't understand. But whatever. And there's also the other part of adding rule sets. You have let's talk about Dreamscard Press as a prime example. Dreamscard Press has a lot of cool ideas for psionics, but it's a whole new system. And instead of telling people to buy a thick book and read through it and then figure it out, and then maybe if you're lucky, you possibly can do it. You don't want to do all that. You want to take it a different way. You want to make it really easily digestible for them, very simple they can get and understand, and they can just keep going with it. And that's 90% of it right there. So I think once people focus like that on that, that'll be more helpful. But once again, I said I was kind of surprised about I'm not going to use the word open hostility, but open hostility of some people's reaction. I didn't understand why people thought it had to be this whole us versus them. And maybe 10 years ago that might have been the thing, but it's like that's 5-10 years ago. So how about we not do us versus them and find a way that we can work together as a team and do better things as a team. I think that's a better long-term choice for everybody. But I don't know, some people get tied up in the old stuff, so that's on them. But if you haven't checked the thread out, it's at paizo.com. It's paizo.com/message boards. I think it's /message boards. You can find us in there in the third-party section and get your feedback. I'd like to hear your feedback on this. A lot of people are playing living campaigns who seem to really like what we're going to be planning, understand what the whole idea is. But there are some people who are like, no, I will never play this. This is not something I want to do. There are other people who want to say that put everything from third party in there, open, and just dump it in there. I don't want to do that either. I think that's a bad plan. But I'm open to talk to people and hear what they have to say and get their feedback so we can really do something that's interesting and correct. And initially when I thought about doing this years ago, even before even JP got involved, I kind of wanted to run it kind of in the sense of like a television series. The season would start at Gen Con. The midpoint would be somewhere near like Winter Fantasy, and the final episode for the season would be Origins. So you had that big gap in the middle between Origins and Gen Con to promote the next year's stuff. And I always thought that was a cool idea. Very, very TV-like, and that's probably that's where I stole the idea from. Because I think it's a better way to do that. Because if you do like a overall year arc that things play into, boom. That's what I think. That's just what I think. I know also that I plan to release a lot of adventures, but then I talked to some people and they said, no, that's not a good plan. And they gave me these reasons, and I was like, oh, I never thought about that. So realistically, we're probably going to start with maybe, 2, 3, maybe even 4 adventures, and then probably release 1 every month for the first year and just see how people like it, see what we've done right. We're going to give all people try to get taste of different things. I would like to say, I'm definitely going to do a Psionics one. We're definitely going to do a Steampunk one. I don't know exactly if we're going to do that, but we're going to try to hope to do that. But once again, we're playing in a generic setting. We're trying to set up for a generic setting so we can have the setting make sense, while at the same time give you an opportunity to try out other worlds in there. Not just Neo Exodus and not just Obsidian Apocalypse, but a lot of the other gaming third-party worlds. If they're interested, that's the other part. Some people may not be interested in doing that. Some people are like, oh yeah, I'd love to do it. Can't get the adventure together. So it's going to be a process, but I'm hoping that we can move along with this process as soon as possible and get people at least behind the idea But once again, I still got to talk to our technical guy about what I want to see, and stuff like that. But it's just that kind of thing. All right. Because it's really hot in this car, and I'm doing it up on this 5th floor roof. I'm just very hot. I'm gonna get ready to go back down to my event. Like I said, I'm reading my book today. If you get a chance, once again, I'm promoting it again. Check it out. I think. Oop, my hand's in the way. Check it out. I think you will find it quite useful and quite informative. That's what I'm just thinking. All right. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.